XDefiant, a Ubisoft FPS game branded COD killer before its even release. So the question is it really a COD killer? And the answer is, of course, no. XDefiant isn't necessarily a bad game, but it doesn't really have a decent start to even broken and hated COD multiplayer. And if Ubisoft really aimed at stealing as many players as possible from Activision's giant, they should at least add deathmatch mode, because so far the game is more reminiscent of Overwatch or Dirty Bomb than anything that could actually compete with COD. Graphically, of course, it's pretty nice, it looks nice, but the graphics won't really bring players to play your online game for hours and hours. So what counts is a gameplay, modes, maps, and overall design of a game. And yes, right now it feels like we have an Overwatch at home situation. We received 5 modes, where 3 of them are capture the point / defend the point modes with slight changes to it. That will be domination, occupy, zone control, and we also have a Ubisoft version of dog tags mode called hotshots and escort, which is basically a mode pulled from Team Fortress 2 and Overwatch, protect the cargo as it moves through the map. No deathmatch, no free-for-all, and what is even worse, all of the maps that I've played would be more suitable for modes like deathmatch and not to take over the point. People who designed these maps did an awful job. The maps are really restrictive, don't allow you to jump and climb on some shelves that you automatically assume that you can jump onto them. There is no way to find yourself the advantageous position or spot to camp. There is just no fun to be had on these maps. You just have your box and you run around like a headless chicken. The game simply doesn't respect your explorer's soul at any point. Remember 2009 Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2? You could actually jump off the map onto that crane and camp on that spot. Not everyone on the map even knew that you could do that, and that was fun, finding these types of spots. Today in 2024, XDefiant, if this map was here, they would put invisible wall in this place to prevent you from jumping over there. The maps are also designed in the really weird way. I don't really know how to put it into words, but let's try it this way. You have a map, and most of the time you're going to be protecting the points or taking over the point or escorting the cargo. The points on the map are situated so poorly that everyone just uses one and the same route to run towards them. The huge chunk of the maps on the side stay completely empty and is not used by anyone because there is no reason to use it. So you may think running around the map and catching the enemies off guard once in a while, and yes, you can do that, and you will run through completely empty sides of the map because no one goes there because there is no reason to. The game doesn't even spawn the players in these places. But going off the maps already, let's have few words about the gameplay. And this may also explain why this game is more like Overwatch than COD. Shooting feels okay for the most part, but there is a huge problem with hit registration. Sometimes you're going to end up shooting the entire magazine into the enemy's head and the game will only count 1 bullet as hitting the target. Other times you will get a indicator on the screen that you hit the enemy several times before they killed you, and after they killed you, you are greeted with the information that they have 100% HP. They are unscratched. There are also unlocks in the game. You can modify the weapons, you can also level them up and unlock a new weapons through the challenges. So the game doesn't really give you a choice at the beginning. You want to play with an assault rifle, you only get this one and you have to grind to unlock something better, or at least to enhance your rifle that you are forced to play with. But the problem begins how this looks in game. You get into the lobbies full of level 50s and they have an advantage, as the unlocks for the weapons and new weapons actually make a huge difference. There are people who will tell you get good, and to these types of people I have to say this. Look at this score table, it's always like that. High levels on the top, low levels of the bottom. It feels like you have to put your entire magazine into the enemy to kill them with your basic weapon, and sometimes it's not even enough, but the enemy who's level 20 or 30 or 50, they can actually end you with 2 or 3 shots. For comparison, you also can get to COD lobby and you will constantly see low levels being even better at the game than level 50s, because because in Call of Duty, it's skill that matters, not the attachments to the weapon or the weapons you play with. In XDefiant, it feels like the skill takes the secondary place, and what matters is actually how many hours you've played, how many attachments and weapons you've unlocked, instead of just being a skillful player. And the game doesn't even try to match you with the players on the same level that you are. So it's going to throw you into the lobbies with level 20s or 50s when you are level 1, 2 or 3. And in XDefiant, it just doesn't work. In COD, you can actually defend yourself with your skill, but in XDefiant, it doesn't really make sense. And also, you have factions. As you play the game, before any match, you're going to choose the faction. Every faction has a different skill. Also, the factions are pulled off from other Ubisoft titles. Libertad from Far Cry 6, Dead Sucks from Watch Dogs, and for an example, you have Far Cry 6 Libertad, which have skill to heal yourself or the friendlies. And you have Phantoms, and as a Phantom, you can actually use your shields. A normal personal shield or huge magnetic shield, like in Overwatch. So the game doesn't punish or doesn't penalize the fact that you can play a full 6-player team and everyone can choose the same faction. So let's say you have 6 enemies who choose to play as Phantoms and they all have the energy shield. When they are playing escort, they can just spam the shield in the same corridor at the same time and safely move the cart towards its goal, and you will be able to do jack shit. That completely screws up the balance of the game, and it wasn't completely thought through. In games like Overwatch, which isn't in a good state at this moment, you will get penalized as a team if you choose, for an example, 5 tanks, because you will have low damage and no healing, etc. And here, there's nothing like that. The game will never penalize you for having 6 Phantoms in the team, because they all use the same weapons, they all use and deal the same amount of damage as other factions, have magnetic shields to use every 20 seconds or so, and at the end of the day, someone smart thought, oh, let's give this faction 20 HP more than all of the other factions. So very often you're going to meet people who are going to play exclusively Phantoms because the whole advantage they have. And as I said, Echelons, for an example, the faction that has invisibility cloak, so you can get easy to the players from behind and surprise them. The game also lacks standard FPS shooter functions that you'd expect to be a norm, especially in 2024. You cannot go prone, you cannot throw the grenade away, no option to mount the weapon on the corners, and that's all around the fact that taking over the points is always in the open spaces. You don't really have the place to hide, you can't lay down, you can't use corners to mount the weapons. So someone can say, okay, but other games also have a point situated in the open spaces, but at least you have these options. You can mount the weapon, you can lay down in the grass. In here, you can't do nothing of those things. There is no way to climb on some interesting positions in the game. The game just puts the invisible walls and characters won't even attempt to climb. It feels very curated, and because you can't really go around and have fun on these maps, it becomes stale and boring very quickly. To add insult to the injury, you cannot disable the crossplay on the console. If you're on PC, you can disable the crossplay and play only with the PC players, so you just basically turn off the people who may be easier targets for you while playing on the console because their reactions are going to be usually slower. But if you are on the console and you want to exclude the players with the mouse and keyboard and better mobility than you cannot do this. You are forced to play with the PC players no matter what that will use the mouse and keyboard. Also, there is no way to change the region manually. Like, I found out about this by an accident, but the game feels like it's already dying, so I was waiting like 5 minutes per game. When not choosing the quick play and choosing the specific mode, I actually had to wait a long time to find players. Picking escort took even longer than 5 minutes, and the game won't start till it's going to fill the lobby to its full. So if there is a 10 players in the lobby, the game won't start. No, you have to sit, wait and waste your time because the game has to find 2 more players. And after that, I went into the settings and I was like, okay, maybe if I change the region on the other region, maybe I'm going to find the matches faster to not waste my time. Nope, you can't. Red Online, some people are even thrown into the wrong regions and have to play with 100+ ping, and they can't change the region because there isn't even an option. description. And at the end, I will mention the monetization of this game. So the free-to-play Ubisoft game, of course, is going to try to squeeze at least few bucks from you when you're playing it. So you have Battle Pass, which doesn't really look that appealing at all, skin shop, some packages, boosters, and everything obviously designed in a scummy way. Battle Pass, for an example, is 700 points, that's $7. But you can only buy 500 or 1000 and more points at the time, so you will have to spend at least $10. Because maybe seeing that 300 points in every time you turn on the game in the top corner, maybe this will incentivize you to spend more money, because why would you waste $3 like that? The Battle Pass also gives you no free currency. I mean, Fortnite and COD you play the game, you don't buy the premium battle pass, and you get free currency. Sometimes it's really useful because you can actually complete the battle pass, you're going to receive some points from free tiers, and you can just buy lower amount of points to purchase the battle pass and receive everything from the premium points. This game doesn't. Every free tier in the battle pass is some low quality dog shit that you wouldn't even want for free. They do give you the currency in the premium battle pass, but nothing for free, not even 100 points. You also have an option to complete some challenges with a paid currency. So for an example, you get into the challenges and you can pay 1000 points, aka $10, to complete the challenge. So, you know, in terms, if you just don't feel like playing the game, you can just pay for it and it's going to be playing itself. Ending this video on this note, I'd say like this. This is a Ubisoft game through and through. It looks great on the trailers, and now when you get the full game, you can only say meh when playing it. Unfinished, rushed, lacks quality of life features without the content to even keep you interested. Tries to be more of an Overwatch clone or Dirty Bomb, but it's not even close to them. The maps in these games are way more interesting and creative than here. Personally, I will give this game 3 to 6 months before it's dead and forgotten. And that's me being generous, seeing how long sometimes it takes to actually find matches. Ubisoft likes to shut down games, some sooner than you anticipate. Not that long they shut down Hyperscape, which nobody remembers about, the multiplayer game Battle Royale that didn't even have 2 full years, and this actually feels like it won't be different. Is it completely bad and awful? No, it's just meh. If you don't have anything better to play, and you do because there's plenty of better free-to-play games on the market, you may have some fun. But at least remember, this is a Ubisoft game, and at least don't spend any money on it.